to a large man, Victor Wembanyama, who put on a show, dropping 41 points and grabbing 24 rebounds, also becoming the youngest player in NBA playoff history with a 40-20 game, passing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He also joins Wilt Chamberlain as the only players with a 40-20 game in his conference or divisional finals debut. NBA analyst Iman Shumpert with us now. Shumpert, what will you remember about Wemby's performance?
I think the way he accepted the challenge. He had to sit there and watch SGA hoist up an MVP trophy, and I don't think he liked it too much. He didn't come out and decide that he was going to influence the game scoring right away, but he dominated the boards. He was in the right place at the right time. He altered shots around the basket. He searched for matchup problems. He set screens. He set back screens. He did a little bit of everything to let this game come to him before he eliminated all available options and said, you know what, now I'm just going to score the basketball. And there was nothing OKC could do. They tried a number of different defenders on him. None of that worked, but I think he did a great job of being patient for the moment rather than forcing the issue.
All right, let's talk about OKC. They lose for the first time this postseason. They had been 8-0. Guard Cason Wallace and head coach Mark Daigneault speaking earlier. This is new on SportsCenter. Check them out.
I feel like we started off slow, so being able to put a whole game together would be crucial for us. We obviously course-corrected in the second half, got it much closer, so just knowing that it's going to be a fight, we got to be able to throw punches as well as take punches.
In these series, you know, one of the things you got to do is you got to figure out what the problems are, and you got to put the fires out pretty quickly. And so that's our challenge, and we got to work on that with the team today. We'll continue to work on it tomorrow, and then we'll throw our best pitch tomorrow night.
Let's talk about that challenge. SGA was a -15. He shot 7 of 23 from the field. If you're in his shoes and watching film of this game this morning, what adjustment does he need to make moving forward?
Getting the short shots. I think that SGA did a little bit of searching for the whistle when he wasn't shooting the ball well. He played into a lot of contact, and I think he's just got to continue to play in space, continue to try and get those defenders off of him, but create matchups and problems to where he sees a bunch of floor space. I think yesterday he did a lot of dribbling, 1-2 dribbles to the corner, and had other guys in that strong side corner not giving him enough room to get shots off comfortably. I think he needs to see a couple go down before he starts getting dangerous with it. And he also needs to be able to finish with the dribble all the way at the rim. The Spurs have done a great job of picking him up early, providing a bunch of pressure to make it late in the shot clock. But if he continues to exhaust the dribble and get to the basket through contact, you can't look for fouls, but he's going to have to finish around the rim.
All right, let's set the West aside for a second and get to the East Finals. Game 1 between Knicks and Cavs tipping off tonight, 8 Eastern, ESPN. What's the thing you'll be watching most closely as this series begins?
To see how they play Cat. I think that the Cavaliers are equipped to guard Karl Anthony Towns, but the gifts that Karl Anthony Towns have with shooting the ball, as well as being able to throw that late pass, his ability to make sure that the floor stays balanced, the ball moves side to side, and that Jalen Brunson can pick his spots to be dangerous and get downhill, especially if he can keep the lead within a certain number. I think that Jalen Brunson does as good as anybody in the NBA at controlling the game toward the end and saying if this becomes a heavyweight slugfest, he's going to win scoring bucket for bucket.
Hey, in their 10 playoff games, the Knicks have outscored their opponents by an average of 19 points per game. The best 10 games span in NBA playoff history. I did not.
A game, a ever popular game of Is That McNuts? Monica, if I were to say that the winner of the Western Conference Final between OKC and San Antonio is going to win the championship, is that McNuts?
Greeny, did you watch the game last night? It is not McNuts, but here's what I will say that could be a very real thing, is that those two teams go to a battle, Game 7 battle that wears both of them out and sets up the Eastern Conference winner to have an opportunity to beat a depleted team.
I will agree. I will say, let's see the Knicks play this series.
Yeah.
Let's see them keep looking this good and then tell me they have no chance against anybody. Finally, Monica, if I were to say Victor Wembanyama is already the best player in the NBA, is that McNuts?
I take back all the things I ever said about an experience because I don't think this is McNuts at all, Greeny. The way that he's able to impact the game on both sides of the floor in places that he's actually not even standing, the way that he's growing, his competitive poise, he has not wasted a single experience this season, and and has gotten better every time he stepped out on the floor.
So it's an interesting one, and we don't do this often, but every now and again I'll put together like a round table of people from a variety of different sports to talk about something that we've seen and try and put it in context. And I feel like this is that kind of moment. Victor Wembanyama had a night last night that felt like we may someday look back on it and say that's when everything changed. You know, Michael Jordan makes that shot against Cleveland in Game 5 in 1989. We just had the anniversary of it recently, Wendy, and we were talking about it. You could almost break everything up into everything that came before that and everything that came since. I know that this might sound like hyperbole, but last night had a little bit of that kind of feel with Wembanyama.
I have so much respect for the Oklahoma City Thunder organization. If you know about how they do things behind the scenes and how they are so researched and how I've seen them go through their own heartbreak and rebuild the team, and they have put together this team meticulously and beautifully. And as I'm watching this, I'm like, what if they're checkmated, though? What if they're checkmated by the 7'5" guy? Because honestly, I think of it like this. I'll keep saying it. You don't just have to beat them. You got to beat them 4 and 7. 4 and 7. That mountain is looking like it's really hard to climb.
Yeah, and now it becomes 4 out of 6. And the question is he the best show in sports? So you're obviously glued to, on ESPN last night, Game 7, which was an incredible overtime thriller in Buffalo, and the Sabres have their hearts broken. But your appreciation level, you and I were talking about it earlier in the break, for what Wembanyama did.
When I came home and got home from the studio last night, I watched Wemby. I watched the alien that is Wemby.
Yeah.
And really, to me, that kind of rivals what we saw to the amazing men and women that we saw in NASA in the space flight the other day.
Wow.
They might
That's
want
quite
to put
the comparison.
They might want to put a NASA logo on Wemby's shoes. Get him some NASA gear because he's that freaky. They may have seen him up there, but we haven't seen him.
I thought you were going to say Brett Hull.
No, different level. Brett Hull was amazing.
I've got it.
One of the best.
It's the commercial. Wembanyama, he's out of this world. It'll work perfectly.
The marketing.
J-Mac and Schrager were telling me at breakfast this morning, you're up all night last night, right? You kept saying, I want to go to sleep, and you can't go to sleep.
Could not go to sleep. You couldn't turn the TV off for what you saw him doing. I think even in our game, we see clutch performances. Brady, Mahomes, where in the biggest moment, they make a fantastic play. The difference is Wembanyama makes that play, but he does it in a variety of ways. He makes a Steph Curry 3 late in that game, but then he comes back and blocks Jalen Williams at the rim. The same player is not supposed to be able to do those same actions in a matter of moments. I think that's what makes the show so special compared to what we see in our league, where it's just big moments, big players stepping up.
And I love the story and the context of it all. He's watching his rival receive the MVP award before the game in front of a sea of blue of those home fans. Everything that added up to this moment. How about the fact that Caruso at the start of overtime is blocking the camera, and they're usually the jovial, hey, we're kicking everyone's butt, we sweep everybody, and now they're on the rocks. To do it in that building against this group of players, the way that he did, Greeny, I don't have a parallel. And that frame right there, you're right. It's like before Wemby and after Wemby. This was the moment.
All you do, Monica, is you just hope that history is filled with really, really big guys who just weren't able to stay healthy because it's just at that size and all of that. Now, I can't remember one that had the same frame as he did. I remember when Sean Bradley got drafted. I remember when Yao Ming got drafted.
Hey, Ralph Sampson,
those
maybe?
guys. Sampson, Wilbon brought him up before. He was 7'4". Wilbon brought up. He came up in an era when the coach was like, get your butt under the basket. That's where you belong. Don't go out there. Ralph Sampson may have just been born 40 years too early. Wembanyama is not like anything we've ever seen.
Wendy, I know you can speak to this a little bit more, but just from following your reporting, even leading into his draft gear, right? There's been so much care to be taken that he is mindful of his body. I mean, we talked about the Monk experience this summer. Even just in the arc of this postseason, y'all, to me, the experience of being ejected versus Minnesota, that was a recentering opportunity in terms of understanding that the physicality is going to continue to come, but I am too important to be off of the floor from this group.
The background for Wembanyama is he obviously knew he was extremely tall. He was taking care of his body for years. His agent shares the same agent with Rudy Gobert, who, knock on wood, 7'3", has never been seriously injured. And so they've trained the same way. And as he was told throughout his teenage years, gain weight, young stick figure, he was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go very slowly and be very mindful of that. And you should see, I mean, it's now out there, it's viral what he does, but the way he takes care of his feet and his toes. He works every day to work on his feet and his toes and strengthening those ligaments. You never know. Sometimes you get a bad break or whatever, but just know that Victor Wembanyama decided when he was like 10 or 11 years old, he wanted to be the best basketball player of all time. And he's woken up every single day thinking about that. And he was gifted with an incredible body, but he's also got an incredible will. And that's what's coming together now.
You know, what makes me think of is that every now and again, a great one comes along of whom everything is expected and they outdo it. Hembo and I did a book in which we pointed out Wayne Gretzky, when he was, I want to say he was 12 years old. There were headlines in the papers already locally comparing him to the greatest, literally the greatest players, Gordie Howe, and the greatest players of all time. LeBron James, when he came into the league, had as much fanfare as any player coming in directly out of high school. Both of those somehow managed to exceed impossible expectations. This kid seems to be doing that right now.
He seems to be doing that. And when you think of the great players that came before him, that's what makes it crazy. You have the Admiral. Of course, you had Tim Duncan, and he's doing this. This is wild.
And what does he have in common with both of those guys? The organization that he lands in. And so